How do you get in the door? Typically, there's an exchange of value in every conversation. The implied exchange of value in a startup pitch is I am going to get to attempt to sell you something. And in return, you are going to get a sneak peek at what might be a piece of the future and or a solution to a problem that you currently have. So that's why people accept being pitched, right? That's the exchange of value. When you're doing customer development, especially pre-idea exploration, that value equation gets thrown out the window because you get everything and what do they get? And so what you need to do to set up these conversations, especially if you want to run multiple or do them at scale, is like you tend to start with the friendly first contacts, right? Because like they'll do it to develop the relationship with you. If you happen to have good networks that are valuable to the person, they will have the conversation because they want access to your network or your credibility. In some cities, this is easier than others. So then you go like, okay, how do I set this up? One way that people have been doing it recently is by starting a podcast. And they go, hey, I'm starting a podcast to understand these workplace challenges. I would like to interview you. And then the value exchange has changed. You get your learning, but they get some thought leadership and potential promotion. At the very least, they get their ego flattered. Another way to do it is to say, you can do it anonymously by saying, I'm doing this white paper. I'm researching this industry. I'm interviewing 12 companies. I think you'd make a great fit for it. I'm going to anonymize the data, but you'll be able to benchmark yourselves against your peers in these important areas. Suddenly they're giving you all of their sensitive data because they expect to get something in return. Sometimes you can do it by being a middleman. I don't know how this works post-COVID, but when we were working in person, a great tactic was a lunch networking event. So you basically tell everyone to bring their own lunch. You get an interesting speaker who talks for 10 minutes about some industry trend, and everyone gets to meet other interesting people in their industry. You've said nothing, but by virtue of being the organizer, you've delivered value, and then everyone is going to take the meeting with you. And if you set it up properly, during the event itself, they're all talking about their problems. So you've gotten your learning anyway. I'm doing it now remotely through Community. So it's been ages since I've done an explicit Custdev meeting, and yet I'm spending hundreds of hours talking to my customers because they are joining a community to receive an outcome, in my case, to write a successful book. And I go, hey, if you want, I'd love to talk about your book. Let's jump on a call. I'd love to answer your questions. They join, they talk about all their problems, their frustrations, their blockers, where they're spending money, what's working, what's not working. That is like the ideal Custdev conversation, zero bias. And they think that I'm doing them a favor, right? Because of the way it's framed. So when you get outside of the normal value exchange, it's still doable. It just means you need to be more thoughtful about like, how am I setting this up? What are they getting? And how do I make it not weird? How do I make this a conversation they want to have with me?